You're listening to SaskScapes, a podcast featuring the stories of arts, culture, and heritage in Saskatchewan. It turns out that Russia may have the oldest one of these in existence in the form of a linen carpet, but I know for a fact that my group of 9 guests in this episode are not the oldest in existence, and I'm quite certain that as they listen to this introduction, they'll be laughing as much as we all did when we met. I'm Kevin Power, and this group of ladies has a very special bond that goes beyond the intricacies of the quilted stitch. These women have a friendship that is as tightly woven together as are the fibers in fabric, and they are a ton of fun. With a name they've given themselves, how could they be anything else but fun? SaskScape listeners, I present the Quilting Bags of Meadow Lake. I'm in Meadow Lake. I have been waiting to meet this motley crew for quite some time. How could I turn down the opportunity to meet a group of women who are actually willing to call themselves the Quilting Bags? I mean, you don't look like a group of bags to me, but it's a testament to your humor that you're willing to be called that. So we are an impressive group, and we're going to start by going around the table, and I'm going to get to know you a little bit. So first we have
Penny Lance.
Penny, were you born in Saskatchewan?
Yes.
Where?
Loon Lake, Saskatchewan.
Right. And how long have you lived in Meadow Lake?
About 28 years.
So you've raised your family here?
Yes.
I understand you work full-time at the Pioneer Lodge.
Yes, I do.
Tell me about the Pioneer Lodge.
It is a long-term care.
How long have you worked there?
13 years.
So you're looking after our senior population.
Yes, I am.
Very important work that you're doing. Mm-hmm. And how long have you been a member of the quilting group?
Oh, I think...
Since the beginning?
Yes, yeah.
Right. 9 years ago. And I understand that you're quite a prolific quilter.
Some days.
Not always.
Yeah.
Right. But is this your bag down here?
No.
Okay. All right. Penny, we'll hear more from you later. Just going to do brief introductions. Next to Penny, we have
Donna.
Donna. And are you from Saskatchewan?
Yep.
From where?
Here.
Oh, you've lived here all your life.
Yep. Born and raised here.
Right. I understand that apart from quilting, you also love to go dancing.
Oh, yeah, we do that.
And I believe that your husband is your dancing partner.
Mm-hmm.
How's he take to that?
Good.
I'm told that your husband is the brunt of a few of your jokes.
More than a few. No, we won't go there.
I'll take that as a yes. How long have you been a member of this quilting group?
Since it started.
Since this started, wow. Please fill me in, enlighten me. What in the world is a long arm quilting machine? Does that mean you have particularly long arms?
Yes. No, you have a 10-foot frame with a sewing machine on the top that moves back and forth.
Now, is this considered technologically advanced, or is this? Oh, it is. And how did you acquire this?
Well, my mom passed away, and she was an avid sewer, and when I inherited the money, that's what I bought.
Wow, so you're serious. You're hardcore.
Yes.
If you have that kind of machine. Does that mean you you're able to produce quilts faster with this?
Yeah, it's faster and a little cheaper.
Faster and a little cheaper. And easier for you, less...
Yes.
Right. And that's the name of the game.
Right.
So you can just churn those suckers out.
For sure.
Great. We'll hear more from you later, Donna. Next to Donna, we have
Laura Carey.
Lorley. And are you from Saskatchewan?
I sure am.
Ooh, and you're proud to say that, aren't you? Where are you from?
Well, I've lived here for 44 years, but I was born in Yorkton.
Ah, good old Yorkton. And I understand that you moonlight as a nurse, but your real life as a quilter, or is it the other way around?
Actually, I'm not a nurse. I'm an x-ray technician.
So you spend a lot of your day in the dark.
Not anymore. We don't go in the dark anymore.
You've come out of the dark. You've been enlightened.
We're enlightened. Yeah, that's right.
Right. And how long have you been a member of the quilting group?
Since the beginning. Inaugural member as well.
Wow, an inaugural member. Boy, you people are hardcore. You're devoted. And next we have
I'm Kathleen.
Kathleen. Hi. Are you from Saskatchewan?
No.
Uh-oh. Okay. You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I'm all
I'm
that they're
kidding.
not.
You're all... Oh, great. Okay, so where are you from?
I grew up in Southern Ontario, in Toronto, and I have made my way here through Northern Ontario, British Columbia, and the east side of Saskatchewan.
So how long have you been here?
8 years.
Where were you in the east side of Saskatchewan?
Hudson Bay.
Ah, right. I've been. Yes. And so how long did it take for you to move, to become a member of the quilting group once you got here?
Tonight's my first night.
Tonight's your first night?
I'm the quilting virgin.
You've been...
Well, not quite. I mean, I've been deflocked, but
You've
it's been many
deflocked.
years since I've quilted. So Mary and I know each other from the knitting group. So Mary encouraged me to come, and this is a project I started years ago, and it would be just fabulous to get some guidance on how to pick it up and keep going.
So you were born again...
I'm a born-again quilter.
Quilting virgin.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, they say you can't lose it twice, but I disagree.
That's right. Lucky me.
Here's hoping I leave you with an afterglow. And next we have
Pat Bolio.
Pat. So, you know the first question I'm going to ask you. Where are you from?
I was born in Humboldt.
Ah, good old Humboldt. I'm going to be taking my series there too, very shortly.
German Catholics.
Right. Right. How long have you been a member of the quilting group?
Probably 5 years. I wasn't an inaugural member.
Okay.
I was a hanger-on later.
I'm told that you have had quite an interesting career during your life as a wildlife biologist. Is this true?
Yes, I was a wildlife biologist until I married a wildlife biologist, and then there's only a job for one, so then I became a housewife.
So,
Quite a few years ago.
right. So your wildlife biology was focused in Saskatchewan?
Yes. Terrestrial wildlife habitat inventory.
That sounds very important. So that means counting...
Twit, if you put it.
Twit! Ah, it's nice to meet another twit. So does that mean you're taking inventory on a particular subsection of the wildlife in Saskatchewan?
No, I was inventorying the Crown-owned land and evaluating it for its critical habitat on it.
Critical habitat being habitat that is in danger of being...
Well, it's habitat essential to the population of moose or mule deer or elk or white-tailed deer, whichever I'm surveying.
Is there something unique that we have in the world of wildlife in Saskatchewan that's hard to find elsewhere?
We have a very high moose population.
And did you seek out to find a mate who also was in your field of study, or was that just a fluke?
That was just fluke. Lucky fluke.
Lucky fluke. And how long have you been a member of the quilting group?
About 5 years.
About 5 years. Excellent. Next, we have the person at the helm of this organization. If for no other reason than she holds the keys to the church where we're meeting. So without her, we would not be standing here. This is Sandra. Sandra.
Yes.
Are you from Saskatchewan?
I am.
Where?
Around Saskatoon.
Oh, And when did you come to Meadow Lake?
Oh, my goodness. 36 years ago.
Hey, it's Kevin. I hope you're enjoying the episode so far. Just a quick reminder that the SaskScapes podcast is available for free on your favorite podcast app, or you can stream it from your browser. Check out the show notes for the link. On the SaskScapes homepage, you'll notice something new under the logo called SaskScapes Plus. You can't miss it. There's a big button saying support with a heart icon next to it. I'd love it if you could click on that button and help keep this podcast series going. When SaskScapes launched in May 2014, it was the first podcast in the province celebrating arts, culture, and heritage. In fact, you'd have been pretty hard-pressed to find any Saskatchewan podcasts. So I'd like to think that we paved the way. It's been because of your support that this podcast is now in its 9th year. Okay, that's it. Enjoy the rest of the episode. Right, and had you been quilting the whole time you've been here?
No.
No, when did you take up quilting?
Well, I saw this sign in the window of Martyrdam's sewing store, it was at the time, about taking a quilting class, which I did. And Mary was there, and I made my very first quilt there, and I absolutely hated it.
You hated the process or you hated the result?
Both.
Then the question begs, why are you here still? Are you a sadist?
No.
Well, something kept you.
It did. I don't know what I was expecting, and I didn't understand how the colors worked together, so somebody else chose my colors, and even my husband knew that that wasn't something I would have picked out. And I guess I just always thought of my grandmothers and their quilting, and that wasn't what I remembered. But I met some very nice people through it, and I think Mary actually sent out an invitation for all of us who had taken a class or something. I forget how it was worded, and we all got together and had a supper meeting, and the rest is history.
Wow, so it's kind of a sick addiction you have now to conquering those early years. Is there quilting rehab?
No, this is a support group.
Right. Let it go. Give in. Thanks, Sandra. We'll hear more. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot to ask you something. So now this is interesting because for someone who has such a love-hate relationship in the early days with quilting, I understand that you walking through your house is like a tour through an art gallery. Is this because of all of the quilts that are there?
Yes.
So let me get this straight. You took a quilting class. You absolutely hated it, and now your house is like a gallery because of all the work you've done.
Pretty much, yep.
You're quite a curious bird. Or shall I say, you're quite the bag. I've been dying to do this podcast if for no other reason than to say that, because I can almost promise you there'll be no other time in which I can say you're quite the bag to one of my guests. And next we have
Evie Demilkowicz.
Evie, nice to meet you. And you know the question I'm going to ask you first.
Yes, I've lived here for 63 years. I came when I was 10. So I've lived here forever.
Wow. And you're a retired school teacher, I understand.
I am. I taught for 33 years, subbed for 16 or 17, and last year was my first year not subbing.
No kidding.
Wow.
You've probably seen the school system change quite a bit.
Yes, yeah.
For the
Wonderful.
better?
It's a wonderful place.
Oh,
Yeah, I think it's for the better.
And you have tremendous hope in our younger generation.
Amazing kids. I love the high school. I subbed there. Never taught there. Loved the high school. Yeah.
That's great. I understand you married a farmer.
I did. 51 years ago next week.
Wow. Happy early anniversary.
Thank you.
And did you love farming life?
Yes, lived in town. My dad was the principal of the high school, but never was on a farm, but always wanted to be a farmer. And I bought a tractor last spring. I feel just like a farmer. You wouldn't believe, it's just beautiful.
Really? Well, they're probably a lot more fun to drive when you don't have to worry about actually farming, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So I understand also that you hosted a trunk show last year.
Oh, yeah, I'd forgotten that.
Oh, tell me about that.
Well, I didn't realize I had so many. My daughter's not here, and she said she'd come. She's the one that got me into quilting.
But what about the trunk show? What was that?
Yeah, she said to me, you have so many quilts, Mom, why don't you get them out? Anyway, I did, and the girls came, and they enjoyed them.
How many did you have on display?
How many would there have been, Mary? 30? Probably. Yeah, some little ones and some lots big, and
what
some
did
on
you,
walls.
Did you hang them in the trunks of cars? What's a trunk show?
It's just when you pull them,
Out of the trunk.
That's right.
I really knew that. I was just playing
I know.
stupid,
Yeah,
right?
you have a good
Right.
sense of humor. I love it.
Well, I do try. How long have you been a member of? Well, you were probably one of the inaugural members. No.
No, I saw their ad in the paper, and I thought I should go to that. But I'm so damn busy anyway. Oops, bleep, bleep.
No, you can. That one we allow.
Oh,
That-
okay,
that-
yeah. Well, I am so damn busy then that I couldn't. But anyway, I love being a member of the club, but I don't come all that much, and I don't quilt all that much, but there you go. Life is good.
Please tell me about the land that you've donated to the nursing home.
Oh, right. Well, about 2.5 years ago, I came home and I heard they were going to put it on the reserve. I said to Jake, that seems like a long ways away. Why don't we give some land? Yeah, he said, good idea. He said, there's 2 pieces I'm willing to give. So we phoned. I went actually to the hospital the next day, and it was the next day they were at our house and asked us where. So I got in the car with them and showed them the 2 pieces, and they took the one right across from the cemetery. It's 10 acres. The other piece was 10.2 acres that we were willing to give, but we still haven't signed the papers.
So they haven't built on it yet.
No. Fundraising. Yes.
There's fundraising too. Still, that's a generous gift
Oh, it's going to be a nice place to have it, though.
to a very important segment of our population.
It is. Yeah, I go to the lodge quite a lot. I have a couple of friends there that they do a good job there at the lodge. They really do. Yeah. No, it's true. They do. But the new one will be good.
Excellent. Now I'm going to jog around to the other side of the table. Would you like to say something?
Yes.
Okay, good. Did you want to think about that?
No.
All right. So next we have,
Canette. Laird.
and are you from Saskatchewan?
Yes. I was born in Welkie and moved here when we were 4. I grew up here and then I left, met my husband, and we were gone for about 10 years or so, and then we moved back here. And the remark I want to make is, I'm not a bag.
I was happy to be an old bag.
Are you a creative soul by nature?
Yeah, kinda, yes.
Did you grow up on a farm?
No, we grew up in town here in Meadow Lake.
And did you raise your family here? Did you have
Yes.
Did you have some bizarre career like a trapeze artist?
No. We sold Skidoos and Hondas, recreational vehicles.
All right, so you can hook Evie up with the next altering vehicle.
Well, we sold it now, so.
Oh, right. And so you just popped by because you hang out here? Or you saw that it was
No,
like a
this
whim-
is the first time I've been here. Evie said, come, that some gentleman's going to come and,
It's going to be interesting, I said.
yeah, it's going to be interesting. So here I am to listen to what these other women have to say, and
The gentleman hasn't showed up yet. We're still waiting. Well, we're glad you came along. Maybe you'll catch the quilting bug while you're here, and another 5 years from now when I come back, you'll be sitting here feverishly making your 50th quilt. And then next we have, draped with a huge quilt over her, for show and tell,
Doris Crossman.
Doris. And where do you hail from originally?
I was born and raised in Uranium City, and then I moved to Meadow Lake in 1990.
Right. And how long have you been quilting here with the group?
Since the beginning, right
All
from
right.
the start.
Had you quilted before that, though?
I did, actually. I took when I first moved to Meadow Lake, I took a quilting class from Evie and her daughter, Catherine, and I was hooked. and I've been doing it ever since.
And Catherine says you've been her mentor ever since. She said she just can't thank you enough for how much you've helped her.
Well, I've always admired quilts, and my first husband's grandmother was an amazing quilter, and when I saw her quilts, I thought to myself, I have to do that. I just have to. And so when the class came up here in Meadow Lake, I thought, that's for me. So, and I've been quilting ever since.
This one you're working on is massive. It's beautiful.
It's a queen size, yeah.
Wow. And each one of these squares is individual.
Oh, they are.
Right.
But it's not, each piece is not sewn particularly like that. It's called a strip piece method.
Okay.
And so it's actually a lot easier than it looks.
Well, you're supposed to make it sound like it's hard.
Well, I mean, there
You're
are
supposed
hard
to
parts.
wipe the sweat from your brow.
Oh, yes.
I gather your cabin is a refuge for most of your quilts.
I've got quite a few there, yes. They make their way there as well.
Give
So
a lot away, too.
I
do,
have a little bit of inside information for you, which will help you in the future. There's at least one person in this room who, when you next go on vacation, would like to steal some quilts from
yes,
your cabin.
and I know where to go if they go missing because she's threatened many times.
And that would be a testament to just how beautiful your quilts are.
Thank you.
And next we have the person who I can hold personally responsible for making all of this happen. My first contact, the fabulous Mary McCann. Hey, Mary.
Hi there.
Marvelous, marvelous.
Marvelous Mary McCann. It's so good to finally meet you. You've already told me this, but I'll ask again. Where are you from?
Here for the last 13 years.
Mm-hmm. But before that, you were raised out of province.
Yes, around Clive, Alberta. Was what I started off teaching school in Admiral, Saskatchewan. And I met my husband there, and we've been in Saskatchewan ever since.
And how long have you been a member of the quilting group?
Since the beginning.
Wow.
Actually, when we moved here, I was working full-time, and so I was meeting lots of people through work, and then I took the first class with Sandra, and we made a quilt there, and then we got this group going, and it's been absolutely wonderful. Like, the ladies around this table are beautiful and wonderful friends.
So that's a good segue into what I wanted to mostly talk to you guys about. I know this from my mom. The bond that you guys have as quilters is very significant and very important because you are supporting each other not only as quilters but also in life. And you've probably lived through some pretty major ups and downs in your life. Does somebody want to tell me about what the group means to them and what it's given to you personally, apart from quilting? How important it is that you be here weekly for what the group gives you spiritually, personally, emotionally?
For me, it's some days, you have a stressful day at work, and I always look forward to Mondays because I know I'm going to come here and I know I'm going to have a good laugh because we don't take each other too seriously. We like to have fun, and there's always somebody with a good joke or a good story, and you come here, and before you know it, the 2 hours have flown by, and you've forgotten all about that rough day that you had at work, and you go home, and you're nice and relaxed, and it's just fun.
So it's a bit of escapism from the day to day.
It can be, yeah.
Even more than that, this group has just been wonderful for my daughter. Catherine lost her husband a year ago in June, and this group has just been her lifesaver because they phone her and talk to her and get her to go for coffee, and it's just been a lifesaver for her, yeah.
Well, I know that in my mom's quilting group, there have been recent losses of husbands as well, and I know that those women would, if they were here, would definitely say that they don't know what they would have done without the support of their quilters. I mean, we all have lots of friends, but there's some special bond that you guys share. Is that true? Have you all, or for those of you who've been along to the group since the beginning, have there been other big life shifts, not necessarily sad ones, not necessarily the loss of a loved one, but some marriages, some good times, something that you've been able to support each other through, that you could, if you look back, you could say, wow, I don't know how I would have gotten through that without my quilting gang. A couple that had...
They had birthdays, no husbands or family particularly to celebrate with them. We had a ball out there, didn't we?
What did you do?
Bless Mary, she knows, she's the one.
I'm almost willing to believe. What happened? What did you do, Mary, on that particular event?
Absolutely nothing, but we try to celebrate a birthday for people who don't have husbands because they don't have anyone to fuss over them the way the rest of us do, and it's fun for us to fuss over them. But the other thing I would like to say is that every person around this table at some point is coming here and doesn't talk about something that's ripping their heart out, but you come here and you're boosted. You forget about your pain and you go home happy.
If you're enjoying this episode of SaskScapes, why not download the entire series for free from the iTunes Store? Simply search for SaskScapes by SaskCulture. And while you're there, feel free to support SaskScapes by giving us a star rating or writing a review. From time to time, I'll share some of the comments in upcoming episodes. And who knows, it could be your comment I read next. And now, back to the podcast. This is a real safe space for you guys, emotionally. So it's therapy. I mean, who needs a shrink, right?
It's well worth the expense.
it's well worth the expense. Right, and you all get together and talk about politics and the problems of the world. You've solved a lot of issues? Really? Tell me some of the... Have you solved the problem with men running the country?
Well, that solution's obvious. Yeah. Pretty obvious.
One of my favorite lines from a movie that I saw years ago, one of the characters said, "The world would be a much better place if it were run by postmenopausal women."
That's absolutely true.
Salt of the earth we are.
Well, here we've got the beginnings of a United Nations. How do you feel as being the newbie losing her virginity for the second time tonight? How do you feel about joining this motley crew and having that kind of support? Is that one of the draws that brings you here?
It's one I'll really enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm one of the people that has no family. I'd love support. I don't have much of that, so.
Your family are all gone, or they're just not living here?
They're pretty well all gone.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is a lifeline for you. This will become your family. I guess that's what you guys are. They say you can't pick your family, but in a way you do when you join this kind of support system. Anybody else have any kind of thoughts on what this group has given you? Anyone have kids that got married that during the time you've been together?
I complain the whole time. The whole thing about making all the wedding dresses, not the wedding dresses, but bridesmaid dresses.
You're not going to tell me you quilted the dresses?
No, I sewed the dresses and the capes, and I complained bitterly, and I had much support along the way.
Much support in complaining.
Yeah, well, they just let me vent. It helps. It really helps.
Tell me about
My son just got married. And
your eldest son?
No,
Catherine's
Oh, Catherine's
son.
son.
She's not here.
Right.
And who was it? Was it your idea, Donna?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, to each of us, or those of us that wanted to just do a square and make a little quilt, because we knew that was going to be a hard day for Catherine, because her husband wasn't here to celebrate that with them. And so we did. A lot of us just chose bits and pieces out of our stash and threw it all together, and it turned out to be quite a marvelous looking quilt. And that we gave to them. Yeah.
It was a lovely, lovely present. They were really happy.
So it's nice to do something like that. I think, and a lot of us donate quilts to various people, causes, Safe
Is it-
Shelter, McDonald House,
Right.
whatever. Yeah.
Is it hard to let go of a quilt, whether you're giving away as a gift? It's sort of like letting go of an appendage after spending so much time hanging over it with such meticulous.
And sometimes it's
it's
a
such a
relief.
good
Then you feel
feeling,
like you can
though.
go buy some more material. You've been justified.
Yeah, talk to me about the obsession you guys have with material. All material is sacred, is that true, even if it's just a little tiny piece that you might be able to get one little square out of?
Well, I think some
You
are more
might need
obsessive
it.
than others. but-
Yes. And that's the nice thing about the group. They can always give you new patterns or new ideas or advise you on colors or it's not you just striking off on your own.
Yeah.
Good.
Who are some of the taskmasters here who
Tell you
hang
to
over
clear
work?
things
Yeah, hang over work and go, I think you can do better than that. Yeah, who are the quilt police?
You have to hide. Fussy. I think we're more encouraging than anything.
Are you?
Catherine is the most particular, I think.
Catherine's
Catherine and
particular.
Janice.
Yeah.
Janice.
Yes.
They are the most particular.
They're never
But I wouldn't
critical.
call them police, though.
No.
They're encouraging and,
Fabulous
Yeah.
for Catherine.
Yeah.
She loves everything everybody does.
But she sees every mistake.
she does.
Yeah, you guys you really, to the untrained eye, me, it would be impossible for me to find a mistake. Yet you guys can see them right away, huh? Are there quilts that when they're done, you look at and think,
Yes.
I'm not, yes?
That one's a donor.
Usually you know when you're doing it, that's not what you wanted, but you just finish. I always finish. That's one thing, lots of other girls have 6 or 7 on the go at once, not me. I finish one and then I start another one.
Right. And the duds become consolation prizes at the
They're-
local
they-
talent show.
They're underneath the bedspread.
Mattress pads.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Right. How long, I know that it varies, but who has churned out a quilt who has done your personal best? You've done one faster than
Well, it
you
just
thought.
depends because it depends how intricate it is.
Right.
So if it's not that intricate, if the blocks are bigger and the pieces aren't as fussy, you can go pretty quick. Like those strip quilts.
Make the same block over and over again, so you can do it in strips and then cut them apart, and so it goes way faster. As opposed to the old-fashioned days before rotary cutters and where you had to cut each piece out with scissors and you had templates and hand-pieced, and I mean, heck, we've come, with the new machines, electronic machines and all this fancy gadgets we have. We can whip out stuff pretty quick.
Is there an online quilting community? Do any of you guys sort of?
Oh my God, it's
Huge. Is it huge? Tell me about that. Is it across Canada or is it global?
global.
And so who are you chatting with in these groups?
You just look for patterns or,
Oh, you're allowed to share patterns?
well, like the pattern of the quilt, like the finished product, you kind of look at that and then lots of people share their patterns. Lots do.
Right.
Some you have to pay for, but lots share them.
Who are some of the people that are the furthest away from here that you're in contact with?
Well, just in the States, I would say.
Well, I think Janice has gotten some patterns from Australia.
Many. What quilters like to do is go on, is it called the hop shops? Shop hops? The shop hops.
What's that?
You go from one quilt store to the other, community to community. All the way to Edmonton and backward, around the province to little
right.
out of the way shops or big ones.
Are there collector's items in the world of quilting, like things that are really hard to find that are one-offs, or is that just really unique? Come down to scissors. I know that my mother has a pair of scissors that I am forbidden to touch, and that they will never see a piece of paper in their life. They are the
Janice
quilting.
lost my scissors, remember?
So scissors are a coveted tool.
They are.
Well, you can't cut paper and then cut cloth.
Right.
It just doesn't work. They have to be used for cloth only.
Right.
Because they just get dull and you can't cut. So if you have a good pair of scissors, they're only for fabric. You don't use them for anything else.
For those of you whose husbands are still with you, Are they generally supportive, or have you had to sneak away in the cover of dark to this group?
Very supportive.
They are very supportive? Do they have particular groups that they get together with that give them the same, I mean, guys,
Your husband has a support group.
a support group for the husbands of wives that are quilters? I mean,
don't know of any, but there may be. I don't know.
are you the only quilting group in Meadow Lake?
No, I belong to another one. It's called Prairie Pine. It's in Dorntosh.
Is that allowed to belong to two?
I haven't been kicked out of either yet. They're both lovely groups of ladies, and you learn so much from everyone you meet. So the more, the merrier.
So you're going out 2 nights a week to these things?
Well, the Dorntosh one's a full day every Thursday.
A whole day?
Potluck lunch.
I'm looking around the room and you all wear glasses.
You wonder why?
Right. Tell me about living in Meadow Lake. You've all been here for a significant enough time. What do you love about small town like Meadow Lake versus living in the big city?
The people. Wonderful people.
You feel safer?
And the people, like the community support.
Right. Is it a very supportive community here generally? Do you all generally know each other? Is it small enough that you pretty much get to know everybody?
Except
Me.
this lady.
You had never met.
No, I only know 1, 2, 3 people here. Catherine as well. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't work in your typical area either, so I work with mostly guys. They're not good quilters.
What's the work that you do with guys?
Well, I used to work with Pat's husband. He's a biologist and I'm a forester.
Oh, you're a forester.
Yeah, so I work with conservation officers and
I had the opportunity to go to the gala with Margaret Atwood speaking in Regina for the wetlands conservation project
Wow.
that she's on with her husband. Yeah, it was.
that would have been quite interesting.
Yeah, it was quite something. And are we in fairly good shape as far as the forestry in this province is concerned?
Yeah, a lot of checks and balances in place and a lot of monitoring to make sure that what was determined to be sustainable, it's measured and checked to ensure that it is sustainable. And if it needs to get modified along the way, we do that.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't let me get into the opportunity to meet as many women. And that's why it's nice for me to get out to groups like this, because that's where I do get to meet women.
It's a male-dominated field that you're in.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Good for you for breaking those grounds.
Well, somebody has to.
Right. Maybe your next quilt after you're finished picking up with the one that you had left off with years ago can be something around the theme of forestry.
Actually, years ago, a friend of mine who was an award-winning quilter out in BC, and I had asked if I could commission a quilt with her, and I had sent out the design of what I wanted, and there were some appliques and different things on it that represented parts of my life: the horses, the trees from Southern Ontario, trees from here, and it had these pieces. Anyhow, at that time, she kind of I got to the top of the list, and then she stepped back from doing commission quilts. So apparently, I have to do it.
That's up to you.
Right. That seems to be the cool thing about quilts is that you can choose a theme. And if you're making one for somebody, that you choose something that's going to be significant to the person you're making it for, so it's a blank canvas and it's for you to decide. We've had somebody just come in. Oh, you didn't think you were going to get away with not saying anything, did you? No. Who are you?
My name's Catherine Zer.
Oh, you're Eve's daughter.
Yeah.
It's not a coincidence. You're the only mother-daughter team here.
Mm-hmm. But these girls are like sisters to me, so.
Right. We'll get into that in a second. Are you originally from Saskatchewan? Of course you are.
Born and raised here. I just live 2 miles away from where my mom and dad live.
I don't want to dwell on this too much, but I was sharing with the ladies that my mom is a quilter, and she belongs to a quilting group in Saskatoon. And I know most recently that one of her quilters actually just weeks ago lost her husband. And I know that that's something that you have gone through. And this group has been an extremely important part of that healing process for you, yeah?
The quilting girls have been just awesome to me. I have had a hard time with it, but they were with me the whole time my husband was sick, and then after they died, they were here for me and just to hold my hand and give me a hug. And I'm not the only one in our little club that has lost a husband. 7 years ago, my husband had West Nile really bad, and one of the other ladies had already lost her husband just a little bit before. And I said I was so thankful I didn't join their little club that starts with a W. And then 7 years later, I did.
Right.
But there's 3 of us that are way too young to have lost their husbands.
Yeah. You are so fortunate, as you know, to have these ladies here.
Yeah.
And you guys are incredibly special people to be able to give that support, because not everybody cares enough to be able to do that. And, I think that's...
They're really awesome girls.
Why did they get called the Quilting Bags? They're so
You know,
awesome.
that was before I came along. I go to this church, and every week in the bulletin it would say, Monday nights the Quilting Bags would meet. And I always thought, gee, that's a really neat name. But it was quite a few years before my mom kept quilting all this time that I wasn't quilting. And I was shopping for stuff for her one Christmas, and I had just met Mary a little bit before that, and I knew we were destined to be really good friends.
Mary's that kind of
Mary's
person,
that
eh?
kind of
Yeah, you
girl.
just
She
know.
sucked me in, and so then we met at a quilt shop, like a traveling quilt shop. And then a few weeks later, I was looking for stuff for my mom online so I could do her a basket, with quilting supplies. And all it took was one little fat quarter pack by Debbie Mum, and I was addicted again. That's all it took.
And what's the scissor obsession about?
Oh, and I have a scissor obsession too. They're pretty.
And I was saying...
I
that
guess I forgot. I don't even have one.
They're so
Well.
precious you didn't even...
Oh, no, I've got quite a few.
Because... And these
unless
scissors
I
don't
post-
touch anything else, do they?
No.
You don't cut anything but fabric.
There
with
they are.
scissors.
Now, these little ones are
Holy
only...
mackerel, these are
They're
tiny.
cute. These are only $1.99, but I have some that you could add a couple zeros on that. Just about.
Is that right?
Not quite that
They
bad.
come that
They're
expensive?
pretty expensive little scissors. I kind of like them.
Are you...
eBay.
eBay.
Ginger Designer. That's what you just type in.
Really?
Yeah. And they're pretty, and they've got lots of colors. And
So you're the person that has a meticulous eye for detail, huh? Is it?
no,
She's the one that picks out all the mistakes.
You do.
no.
But in the most constructive way.
That's right.
Everything's beautiful. I try and be positive.
Have you always been crafty?
I think so. I think I always can remember sewing. I didn't do very good in home ec, but I can't see why. And art, I was never very good at art, but really I think we're pretty talented artists in our group.
Of course this is
Yeah.
art. This is art. Do any of you do anything other than quilting in the creative vein? Any of you musicians or singers?
We crochet.
You knit and you crochet? Wow, your hands are
You know
very
what
busy.
we do really well?
Yes? Oh. It's no coincidence that you cracked open 2 boxes of huge donuts.
But we have potlucks on our
Oh, do you?
daily quilting, when we have a whole day of quilting.
Yes.
And there's some pretty spectacular things show up there. Yeah, so everybody really is talented that way, I think. Or there's a lot of talent that way.
Then why don't I see homemade baking goods in front of me?
Wasn't in the email.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to put my order in with the email, didn't I?
Yeah.
Who did name this group the Quilting Bags?
Mary.
I love you guys. I ask you a question, you all point to the person responsible, and that person always shakes her head. No. Ruth Wolf, right. And she
I mean, obviously she had a sense of humor.
Oh, yes, I think so, but she doesn't quilt anymore. She's not able to, and it's really, really sad. But I was spoken to her the other day, and she said she still buys fabric, even though she doesn't sew.
And she's one of the original Kenmore owners.
Right.
The Kenmore sewing machine?
Yeah, there's the Kenmore school versus the Genome school, so
Right.
they fight.
Do you not all tune in feverishly when the shopping channel has the Genome on as their today's showstopper?
Any shot.
Dial in now.
Penny got one of those ones.
You did?
Oh, yes, I have a Genome too, and a Kenmore, so I guess I'm in the middle.
Right. And they run sewing machines can be really expensive, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Some of them are like small investments like a car.
That was Laura Lee, and it was her sister that egged her on to buy it. She said, just buy it. She says, you know you want it. You're going to eventually get it. So let's just get it now, she said.
So I did.
So she did.
You went to visit the sewing machine?
Let's go to the store. I want to visit my sewing machine.
Right. You shop like I do. You go back multiple times and visit it until you're brave enough to do it?
That's exactly right.
So you're not a compulsive shopper.
No.
You have to take time to
I
think
need
about
someone
it.
to talk me into it usually.
You are a bunch of hoarders when it comes to fabric, aren't you? Yeah.
Some worse than others.
Hoarders, the quilting edition. I can see it now. I get the feeling this is what you do best is laugh like crazy. Right. Oh, look, Catherine's already spotting an error.
No.
Give the lady a break. I mean, she's clearly not done the corner yet. Wait till she's done before you tell her she's screwed up.
Donna never makes a mistake.
Oh, no? I don't think so, do you? Oh, I have, yeah.
Donna, don't you screw up.
No, this is my long arm quilting.
Oh, this is your long arm quilting. Hence your very long arms. Do you covet that kind of a machine, Catherine? No, you don't want one. Because you're a purist? Is that the deal?
I'm lazy. You gotta work hard to do that.
Oh, I thought they made it easier for you. The long arm
They
quilting.
do this part of it. So if
They're just
you're
the
somebody who
quilting.
does this by hand,
Oh.
then it takes that away.
Oh, but that stitching that's the
The quilting.
quilting pattern,
yeah.
right? So doing that by hand is harder than the long arm machine.
That's what.
Yeah.
Takes a lot longer. She doesn't.
Sandra?
Sandra does it by hand.
Well, wouldn't you want to have one of these long arm machines?
Nope. No, I just hire somebody else to do it.
You do? Do you
Yeah.
do you guys farm out work? You have people? You have employees?
Yeah. We often say, wish we could hire a sewer. One of the other ladies, she always needs to hire a sewer, but she doesn't do it. But we always say we're gonna hire somebody.
Do you strong arm your kids and say, listen, no allowance if you don't stitch this up for me? Oh, your son did some hand quilting. Did
Can't
he keep
say
it
he
up?
was enthused. No, he did about 5 stitches and said, okay, I've done it, that's it.
Are there male quilters? Do they exist out there?
Absolutely.
Are there any in Meadow Lake?
Yes.
The priest at the Catholic Church was a quilter?
Well, he did.
The one
Yeah, he
before
did.
the one they have now, we need to get that one back.
Do you think there'll come a time when there's an integrated co-ed quilting group? It would depend on the men. Well, you guys have to audition them.
Yeah.
Has there been a time when any of you kind of walked away? I know that you have, but when you've walked away from it and said, I have to give myself a break from that, or is that just?
Some quilts just weren't meant to be. Like you picked the wrong colors, you picked the wrong pattern, it's just.
But you ripped them apart and saved the fabric, though, I bet.
No, I put them in a nice little box in the bottom of my cupboard, and someday it's supposed to get done. If I don't die first. I'm kind of hoping that comes first.
That's called a UFO.
A what?
A UFO.
Hang on, let me get to the side of the table. What is a UFO?
Unfinished object.
Right, and so you just stick it in the bottom of the drawer and pretend it's not there and wait that when it comes out again, it looks different. But will some quilting fairy come along at night and reorder it to all of a sudden make it look good?
We keep hoping.
What's that?
We keep hoping.
You keep hoping that it'll look better? As your eyesight starts to fade, some of these quilts start to look better.
Can't see it anymore. It looks good now.
That's right. Are there seeing impaired people that are able to quilt, or do you? Yes?
Marlene Miller, she writes for the local paper, and she had a Western store, and she had a lot of fabric there, and she did lots of upholstery and lots of sewing, and she is legally blind.
Wow.
Yeah.
How does she accomplish that?
She's another amazing woman. Yeah, and they have a large ranch, and she helps her husband, and she still does lots of sewing and stuff. I saw her at Cher's Quilt Shop the other day, and she was shopping up a storm. She had a girl that had brought her to helped her with colors or whatever, and yeah.
You're probably the baby of the group, are you?
Well, usually that's what I get called, but lucky we've had a couple of times we've had a girl that was younger. My friend Jennifer was sewing quilts for her husband's family for Christmas one year. She did several of them. So she was 10 years younger than me, but now she's moved on to other hobbies. She's a big scrapbooker. And my friend Gayleen started, and she's a couple years younger than me, so now she's the baby.
Is there anything else any of you would like to add about how special this group is to you? You're grateful that...
All of us, I think, well, for me personally, I think have learned so much from each other. That not just, personally, but techniques and just different ways of doing things. Or, when you see what somebody else is doing, you just, just kind of learn by osmosis even. It's just having this environment is so conducive to creativity, I think.
And is it a friendship that you have with each other which is very, very different than the other friendships that you have outside?
Most of these ladies I would never have met other than here.
That's what I was going to ask you. Did you know each other?
But in Meadow Lake, you know their names,
Right.
a lot of people, but I would not have known them like we know them now.
Really? Because some of you don't have sisters.
Not here, so
Right.
we bounce ideas off each other, or we support each other, or we laugh at each other, whatever.
Your family.
Very supportive group,
Yeah.
very.
You're a pretty fantastic group of bags, I have to say. You're as much fun as I thought that you would be. And I know that you're technically not back yet, are you? Usually don't get together before when? Next month would be when you'd start back?
We have gotten together in the last week of August other years as well.
I guess what I'm saying is thanks for getting together, especially for me.
Oh, I think we were all looking forward to it. We always look forward to Monday nights or whenever we're getting together. So.
Right. Well, I'm glad that this series could be a catalyst to get you guys together slightly early. And thanks to Mary for being the ringleader, helping me in that endeavor. You're pretty fantastic.
Marvelous, Mary.
They are.
Give yourselves a round of applause.
Thanks for listening. The SaskScapes podcast is created by Kevin Power as part of the Culture Days Animateur program operated by Sask Culture. Funding to the cultural sector is provided through the Saskatchewan Lotteries Trust Fund for Sports, Culture and Recreation. If you want to hear more of these podcasts, or to see the great work being done by other Sask Culture animateurs, please visit www.iheartculture.ca. Special thanks to Paved Arts in Saskatoon for their technical support. Music for SaskScapes is provided by Saskatchewan-born singer-songwriter Jeffrey Straker. There is no end to the stories to be told. So, until next time.